Welcome to Texas State Band Camp. Thank you for being here. Students, family members, supporters. Tonight you're in store for a real cool concert. We're going to have the middle school jazz, high school jazz, and the middle school and high school salsa bands perform for you. Let's give it up for them.
Have technically a program, correct? So the first piece we're going to do is an old standard, one of my favorites, by jazz pianist, a prominent jazz pianist in the history of jazz called Thelonious Monk, and this piece is called Straight No Chaser. Jack Cruz on the tenor sax, Jason Moore on the drum set, Carver Washington on the alto sax, Rylan Klepak on the trombone, and Henry Smith on the trumpet. Let's give them up a round of applause. So, all the kids out there in the other bands, right? You've had band rehearsals twice a day and sectionals, yes? They didn't get a sectional. They had one rehearsal per day. At the end of the day, how many of you were brain dead at the end of the day? Okay, so they had to give me and each other another hour and 50 minutes of rehearsal time. So please keep that in mind as you're hearing them play today. We try to get 3 tunes ready to perform for each night. It's very challenging to do in such a short amount of time. So let's give them another round of applause just for trying to get that done. Okay, the next piece we're going to do for you is called Rhapsody in Blue. And this past fall was the 100th anniversary of the composition of George Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue. So this is a middle school arrangement of that piece. I hope you enjoy it. It's going to have Jillian Stern a little bit on on the piano, and also Isaac, you'll hear a little bit from him on the tenor sax. But those two individuals kind of stood out to me as just kind of leading their group and kind of being on top at the whole time, and had a jack out a couple good jokes throughout the week, so that was nice. I enjoyed the jokes. All right. So thank you to all the kids and all the parents for supporting them this week. It's been a real pleasure, and I also want to thank the counselors for being on top of it with all the kids, and of course Dr. Beatty for always inviting me out. It's a real treat to teach kids from other schools. It's a lot of fun for me to kind of work with other students, and so I really appreciate having this opportunity. The next piece we're going to play, our last one, is called Second Line. It's an old New Orleans traditional standard. It's going to feature Isaac Galvan on the tenor sax, Nathan Hobler on the alto sax, Lucas Perez on the tenor, Luke Elliott on the trombone, Mikhail Palos on the trombone, Henry Atkinson on the trumpet. Did I get everybody? All right, those are all solos for this next piece. And before we also play our last piece, I also want to thank our bass player for the week, Professor Stern. So thank you, Mr. Stern, for performing with us. Give us an excellent foundation. Now, for this last piece is going to be a little bit of audience participation. Would you guys like to participate? Great. Okay. The tune starts out with a little trumpet fanfare. Okay. Play do da do da. And then I'm going to cue the rest of the band and you guys to go hey. Okay. So you say hey. You say it at the same time. Ready? Hey. Real quick one. Let's try it again. Yeah. Do that twice. And then once the tune starts, we're going to practice clapping on 2 and 4. Okay? Stop. When I do this, you have to stop clapping. Okay? Well, because the melody changes, it'll be weird if you keep clapping on 2 and 4. Trust me, you'll understand. You ready? All right.